That's all right. It's good to be here with you tonight. Shaquan, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you as well,
Yes,
Apostle.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry to sit here and listen to, the things that you've been saying, but this is what you're gonna consistently get with this administration. Um, promises, promises, fake promises, more promises, and no result. Okay, so I'm really sorry for the thing is that it's unfortunate that these young people would have believed that this government would have compensated them for all of the work that they put in. And we've come to a realization that they're not going to come through on uh, any promise that they've made. You just said that the police and the nurses and those who worked during COVID. As a matter of fact, I was made to understand that some of the COVID unit persons have not even been paid. So and these were folk who were out terrorizing the public. So it goes to show you that they build trust. They ask individuals to trust them, and then they break that trust. They've done it consistently, even with the whole situation that we had with those four young men that came to the media and said they kept their end of the bargain with the government and they did not hold up their end. So again, we're seeing this situation. I hope that there could be some type of speedy resolution to it, because those individuals who worked so hard to make Barbados look good during Carol Festa, they need to be compensated. And I will stand behind any effort that will be set in place or put in motion to help them get their monies from this government.
I'm sorry, and also to get the money, Apostle. I'm going to turn your mic and my mic. There's something happening when my mic is on and yours. And also to be able to get the money, Apostle and Shaquani and viewers, in a timely manner. There is a reason that they were given the work, because a lot of people it's just a difficult time for a lot of people in Barbados financially, going to the supermarket, just basic things. And you would think that a government that says that we care, Mia cares, that people would be able to get their money when they worked. Why would you have young people working at a summer camp for 5 whole weeks, and at the end of it you cannot have their checks ready? What is that all about? Did you do that for Marshall Montana? Am I saying his name right? Michelle, did you do that for him when he came here to sing? Did he have to wait to get his 1 million US dollars? Did you have to do that for Ava DuVernay when she came here and you have to pay her millions of dollars to speak? What about Alvin Ailey? You flew them here and put them up in a hotel. Did you have to, was there any delay in paying them? Are we not worth anything? Apostle?
Trying to make Barbados look impressive at the expense of using your own people. So these people come here and they see, everything is well set, tanks are in place, sound system is in place, transportation, hotel, food and beverage. And most of the time, these individuals are paid even before they go on stage. That's the way how it's structured. So they would have gotten their monies in advance, because there would have been a budget set for Carrie Festa, and within that budget, they would have known who is to be paid what. And a lot of these individuals, they have their own publicists, they have their own managers, they have their own economic team, their finance team. So they will liaison with the government of Barbados. They will tell them what is the procedure, whether it's 60% upfront, then 40% on arrival. And most of the times when they are on stage, that money is pretty much already in their account. Okay, so it's unfortunate that that can happen on such a level when the persons think about this. If those individuals, those young people, and all of these individuals who work behind the scene, who work overnight to make sure that everything was in place, all of the structures, all of the tanks, all of the the parking facility. Just think about if those individuals did not do what they had to do. This whole Carry Festa would have been a sham because everybody would have gotten to see that, you know, Barbados didn't have anything in place going forward. So they're not capable of hosting a mega event like this. But our people were put to work. They did what they had to do to make sure that Carry Festa looked perfect in the eyes of the public, in the eyes of the Caribbean, in the eyes of those who came as guests and those who came as performers. Um, and so everybody got impressed with Barbados. And I think this is one of the things that uh, our leader has pushed. They've pushed this issue of, you know, impression. You know, you're speaking, you have, you know, your great orator, you know, you're making Barbados look good in the way how you present yourself. And that's what we have. You know, you have this puppet show where, you know, we're saying to the world, oh, we're world class, we're world class. You know, we can put on all these major events and, you know, make Barbados look so impressive. But at the same time, a lot of these folk who come to Barbados, they don't really get to stay long enough to see what is happening to the people who work behind the scenes to make sure that all of these events look so impressive. So I think it's very important right now for individuals to set a system in place that when you are employed by government, that some type of contract is drafted. Make sure that you sign the contract so that if you don't get your money, you can sue this government. Okay. And seriously, when you're looking at the reality of, let's go back, for instance, when we had the ashfall, a lot of those guys who were working on the road, they were getting their monies every week, some up to $500 a week. Okay. So you have a situation where you have a crunch period. You have to get this done. You're on a clock to finalize everything, to make sure that you move forward into all of these mega events, and you push forward and you put forward Barbados as an international destination with quality, you know, and you know, flair. But then when it's all over, that seems that's all we want. We just want Barbados to look good. We just want the people to go away with a, you know, a nice taste in their mouth about how Barbados is, how well Barbados is structured. And I saw a lot of videos that were put out there. A lot of videos, all of them had the prime minister in them. Like, you know, we want to showcase this is our leader. This is the one who's behind all of this that's happening. But most of the times, they're not really behind what's happening. They just show up for the glory. Okay. I was at the funeral years ago when the youngster who was killed at Frederick Smith. And I went to the funeral because one of our young men at the ministry, he was a student there at the school, and I stood up at the south gate of St. Lucie Parish Church, and I'm going to tell you, the media in Barbados has a lot to do with how Barbados is portrayed and how our leaders portrayed. The prime minister arrived just in time. If you ask her what was the message, you know, that was preached, you know, what went on before, the prime minister arrived just in time as they were leaving the church and turning to go through the north door to go to the burial site. That's when she arrived. Okay. And she arrived just in time to walk around and hold the mother of the boy's hand. The media took that picture and plastered it right in the front of the paper. So it gave this impression, wow, look at our leader. She's there with this young lady. She's holding her hand. She's sympathizing with her. You know, she's helping to bear that burden. But most people don't know the prime minister only arrived just then. And this is where our media houses in Barbados, they got to stop this nonsense of trying to just make the prime minister look good when behind the scenes, that's really what's not happening. So unfortunately, as I said, for a lot of these young men and young women who did human service to make sure that these events, Carry Festa, everything was pristine, that Barbados looks good on the map and to the regional and international community. But in reality, let them say to the international community, now let the media put their voices in the paper so that those who came and felt like Barbados was the best thing since sliced bread, look at how this administration is treating the people who did the work behind the scenes to make these events as successful as they were. But we have to do something to make sure that going forward, when all of these individuals are brought into the framework to work to make these events a success, that there's some type of contractual agreement that these people can be paid either a portion of the money upfront and then the remainder at the end of the event. But this cannot continue to happen. It's happened so often, and I think the time to stop this has come. I got together with my members and some of my business partners, and we raised money to give each student, each graduating student, $100. The top boy, the top girl got 500. And today, up to today, I still meet parents that said to me, I didn't have a cent. I didn't have any money to buy anything for my child, and things were so expensive. So, that was an amazing blessing to them. And one of the things that we have to understand is that, again, education in Barbados is not supposed to be this costly. The kind of materials, the type of outfits, and the type of books that kids are supposed to get today, the cost of all of these things, I mean, it's outrageous. And I'm still today meeting parents that, I spoke to one young lady on Sunday, and I asked her, I said, how are things with your son? I said, how are you getting through? She said, well, I'm trying. And that sent a message to me that she doesn't really have everything in place for him. And this is the hardship. You're not seeing the Ministry of Education saying anything or doing anything to help these people. And yet there's always this lavish spending. I think someone told me the budget for Carrie Festa was somewhere around 4.4 million US. I don't know, speaking on correction, but that's what I was told. But the buzz is
no, I can tell you that is way more. That was the 4.4 they're talking about. That was when in 17 under the DLP with Mrs. Stevens with Stephen Lashley. That is way more, sir. That's way more.
Evidently, with the tanks that I saw, I got a video with the drone flying over the whole Carrie Festa village. I saw the whole thing. The reality is that the lavish level of spending that this administration is doing, it could have been used to assist their own people in making things better. This would have been a better time even now if that $300 was coming out. But that money came out to make sure that one by election went in their favor. So you can see that they're manipulating the system. But the reality is that so many individuals, mothers and fathers and guardians that are out there are feeling the pressure. Even if you look at, you'll be surprised at what nurseries are asking parents to get for their children. They're pretty much asking the parents to spend up to $150, $200 on items for a 2-year-old child at nursery. And these are things that the Ministry of Education really needs to look into at this moment. All of this talk about different grades is not making things better for the average person out there who may have 2 or 3 children that are going into either primary or secondary school at the moment. So it is very, very hard out there right now for Barbadians to, put things together for their children to meet the new school year. It's very hard. I'm telling you. I was sitting, went to the, hospital today just for, to take one of my relatives for an appointment. And I heard mothers that were complaining about being scammed with persons, seamstress that are making the uniforms for their kids, actually being scammed. And I heard her clearly telling another individual how much money she was being charged by one seamstress, and then when she got there, and told her what she told her on the phone about the entire uniform. She said, no, this was only for the blouse, you know, this is only for the skirt. So even when they're working with individuals out there, because they know that they have to find a way to get those uniforms for their children, even in the area of getting it done on their own, they're being scammed. So, you know, I don't know what more to say to Barbadians to get them to wake up. But even when things weren't like this, it was easier. I mean, I grew up when we had Wally's in Spikestown, and you know, you could go get your clothes, and in some areas, you know, the government would assist. But it is so hard on parents right now to be adequately prepared and to have their children ready for this coming school term unless they get some kind of support. And I think it should not be like this in Barbados, not in 166 square miles. It should never have gotten to this level.
Apostle on this, since he was the last to come in, and then Shaquani.
Well, there's not much to say here. When you look at the fact that the media there can carry a full story in relation to everything that's happening with that situation. When you compare it to what we get here in Barbados, I don't know pretty much what to say about it. I said this, I think, sometime back on the show. There's no investigative journalism in Barbados, and that is sad. You know, it's almost like somebody has our media houses in their pockets, tell them what they can print, when they can print it, who they can go after. You know, but when you see that type of detail journalism, and then it's presented like even now with this situation with, you know, the housing minister, we don't know anything. All we really know is that he's resigned. That's it. There's no official statement made by him. There's no official statement made by the Ministry of Housing. There's no official statement made by the Prime Minister. There's no official statement made by the leadership of the Barbados Labour Party. I mean, it's just blank, you know. He resigned, that's it. Then we hear rumors of this $60 million, but there's no real reporting. Nobody's digging into what is the real reason for this, you know. Why is it that the Prime Minister is not saying anything more than, you know, just reshuffle? He's resigned, she's accepted the resignation, she's appointed, you know, Mr. Chris Gibbs to take over his position, blah, blah, blah. Thank him very much for his service. And, you know, the public is left like, what the heck is going on here? Okay, so when you look at the reporting there by the BBC and you line that up with what's going on with our media houses here, you'll realize that something is being done to make sure that there's not much damage control that has to be done by the Barbados Labour Party as far as the public is concerned. But I told you before that they're going to meet situations where they will not be able to do any kind of damage control, and this is one of them. This is one of them. And I can tell you right now, they're going to do so much within their power to make sure that all of the credible information that will make this administration look bad and will make Barbadians wipe them out during the next election, they're going to do everything to keep that information under wraps. And unfortunately, they seem to have the media in such a zone where they will make sure that they comply with whatever they are told to make sure that this administration under Mayor Motley still looks credible and still looks as the most viable government to lead Barbados in 2026 and beyond. And I'm telling you right now, they are not. There's too much that has been done to destroy this country, too much that they have signed on to, and this is just the beginning of the dominoes falling. So when you look at that type of presentation from a media house about a situation of significance and compare that to what we are getting here in Barbados, something is being held back from the people of Barbados, and we need to have better journalism houses in this nation right now to keep the people informed. And so, that's what I have to say about that. I'm happy to see that we can still have that level from the BBC. But again, in Barbados, there's always this consistent effort to keep credible information away from the people of Barbados.